Hi, welcome to the Freeman Conversations. I'm Joe Bertocao, the online editor of the Freeman. Just a few days more, and Cebu and Cebuanos around the world will be celebrating Sinulog once again. And joining us in today's conversation are two gentlemen in charge of preparations from the city government and, of course, from the church. Joining us from the city is Councilor David Tumulak. He's the Deputy Mayor for Police Matters and Chairperson of the Executive Committee for Sinulog 2018. And from the church, we have Father Rick Anthony Reyes. He is the Secretary of this year's Fiesta Señor. Gentlemen, thank you for joining us today. Mayong hapon na. Yeah, Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. Okay, before we go to the Sinulog update, Councilor Tumulak, kumusta na itong Metro Ayala?
Okay.
Fire out na ba ta?
Actually, the Bureau of Fire and Protection declared it under control.
Yesterday.
Napay kayo gamay, but na-contain na into one area. No? But rest assured, all are in control of the Bureau of Fire.
And I'm raising this up because I think we have to commend our firefighters, our volunteers, as well as our team from the city government. Despite dugi-dugi man siya nga nagkayo, no? From Friday evening until, well, technically until now, napag-yapigagmay, our personnel are able to control the fire.
Yes, the city government and the Bureau of Fire try to put up the fire, because there is a secondary effect. One is the water supply of the city.
Correct, yes.
We have to put up fire right there and then if possible. Second is the impact on health.
So smoke, no?
So smoke inhalation, no smoke case. Third is the trabaho sa ato ang mga tenants diyan sa mga establishment. Except for those who are regular and contractual. How about the tenants? Much more affected. Fourth is the residents itself. Especially nowadays that we are now experiencing northeast monsoon. So the wind will pass through the south area, which as of this morning, we received some complaints on asthma, level of asthma, respiratory disease. So ill effect of the fire. So that's four. So we try to, as much as possible, to stop the fire and then assist those who are also affected by the smoke haze.
And even the firefighters and our volunteers, the more the fire will continue, the more they are subject to safety, safety risks. Okay, but we are very thankful na contain na as of yesterday, under control ng fire sa Metro Ayala. So we commend all our firefighters and volunteers who helped day in and day out to make that happen. So we'll talk about our preparations for the upcoming Sinulog. The activities of the church will begin on January 11 with Walk with Jesus. And the city government's activities will begin January 12 with the launch of the Sinulog Festival. Let's begin with the church. Father, how are we doing with our preparations?
Okay, so at this point of time, we are really ready for the kick-off of the activities with the beginning of the Novena by January 11. As you have said, we will have our penitential food procession on order. We call it Walk with Jesus. And at this point of time, we anticipated the number of people, the increasing number of people for the fiesta and for the Sinulog. So because we are expecting that, we have some adjustment with the beginning of or with the start of the opening salvo with Walk with Jesus. So before we start, we used to start by 4:30 in the morning with the start of the procession from the Fuente Osmeña going to the Basilica. But now we will be starting at 4 in the morning. So 4 in the morning, and the assembly will be at 3:30, and with the same venue. So that people will be we can what do you call this one, call on people so that they will be informed well of this, especially in the one So it will start there, and then there will be the opening salvo mass right after that, no? And then of course the installation of the hermano hermana on the first mass of the first day, and eventually all masses will follow through. So our scheduled masses there from day 1 until day 9 with some modifications because of some activities which we are coordinating also with other institutions and agencies. The regular schedule, of course, is 4 o'clock in the morning, that's the first mass, then 5:30, then 7, 8:30, 10 o'clock, 11:30, 1, 2:30 in the afternoon, 4 o'clock, 5:30, and the last mass is 7, which will have its, the feature of the last mass will be the traditional sinulog, which is the dance prayer. And then eventually we will have we consider it as the basilica premises will be open, but of course with some with the modification of closing it in a certain hour because of the cleanliness and for the orderliness of the surroundings. So that will be the general scenario of the novenario.
Speaking of the masses, Father, thousands will go to the basilica as expected year after year. Ano itong mga security preparations sa basilica?
Yeah, so within the basilica, the first thing that we have addressed already is that to add our security personnel. Secondly, it's good that the work with the government, with us, with the LGU, with the Councilor Dave's office, is that, and of course with our police, I think there will be police personnel that will be present in our entrances. So in the coordination meeting, we have some police personnel, I think men in uniform, to assist our security personnel in the basilica. And I think just this morning, in the details of the press conference also just this morning, the basilica, I think there will be 102 police in uniform in the basilica.
Every day?
I think that's every day, yeah. Not counting the presence of the police outside. Outside the premises. Yeah. Okay. So that will be that's a good thing for us because we have to consider also our place. No, it's now very small for a great crowd.
Correct. Yes.
I mean, coming from the basilica, especially from the start of the novena, and even we have experienced it just this Friday and Sunday, and some of the people are quarreling with the security personnel because they thought that it's already the start of the novena. So we have to, so we have to explain kinahanglan istoryahon nga dili pa ning start kay nag-dry-run nag-implement especially di sa in our entrances and exits which are more concerned.
Asa na atong entrance and exit points?
Okay, at this point of time, we have entrances. Ang takong entrance good is in the Magellan's Cross aside. No? Okay. Then there is an entrance here in Jerusalem near the Kaking in that corner. There is also one entrance, and I think near the 7-Eleven, near the BPI area, that's at the back of that's Burgos, no? At the back of the Pilgrim Center. So that's and then everything is I think for exit na. Mas naghanang atong exit kasi sa entrance para of course to address also some the flow, addressing some unexpected mga scenarios which will be benefiting the people if daghan kay exits.
Unsay mga ginadili sa basilica?
Sa basilica,
yes.
No? So ang amo lang gidahangyo sa mga tao is that kung of course mga tao kung damong ginagkuan mga unastanan, as much as possible, wear comfortably. Pero ang comfortably is that, of course, it's religiously accepted. Simba mo, so decent but comfortable. In a sense nga, kuwan ba, kanang dili na sila magkalisod-isod sa ilahang gidala. Isa sa among ikuan dito is that nga, kung pwede, di na lang madalag knapsack or kanang mga backpacks nga makaisod sa, especially kay makakuan mo gina, no? Kanang entrance kay checkon mo gina.
Yes.
So kung wala na kita, at least diretso na kagsud. Kapanan na ka sa security personnel, no?
It will be faster.
Yeah. And then secondly, of course, jewelries and other mga accessories na kung maka-attract sa mga kuan kay di ba kita ka-expect bisan di abot sa Basilica na sa mga kuan diha, no, muot or sa man, no, so mo nang among gikuan. So as much as possible, wala na lang i-wear ng mga jewelries, okay. And then of course
water, is that fine? Bottled water?
Yeah. Of course kay mo na kay akong gikuan sa last time, no, gi-address na mo last time sa press conference also. I was asked kung okay lang ba mo dahil water, bottled water, no? So I told them that it depends upon the kuan, no, sa kanang kung init ka, so I think you have to no, you have to bring, no, for your own, ano, kay grabe kay tao, no, it will be difficult for us, it will be very uncomfortable for us, so that is part of our preparation also. And at the same time, kung if there will be changes sa weather, of course payong, or at least na lang yun, wall caps to, mga caps na lang para sa init, pananggat sa init.
Pero ang Basilica will still be providing
Of
your
course, yeah.
almost iconic umbrellas.
Yeah,
the
maroon na flowers of the Basilica.
Okay, maroon and gold umbrellas.
Among gihapon, we are preparing, and I think we are adding also for the people.
Pero daghan magugay mo ato, Father, no? Consider, okay, we expect that the people, not only from Cebu City, but even outside Cebu to come.
Local and foreign tourists are
Yes.
expected. Yeah.
From the city, consider.
Yeah.
Where are we in our preparation?
In terms of preparation for the Sinulu, which also includes the security and safety, the preparation for the contingents and so forth, we are now on 85%.
Meaning to say,
the remaining 15% is 5 is for the production and technical, 5 is for the peace and order,
okay,
and 5 is for the unseen problem. So we're now 85%. So ato mga contingents ready na po for pickup.
final na atong list of participating
Yes,
contingents.
final na starting
For the grand parade ni siya, sir.
Wednesday, probably this coming Wednesday, doon na arrival
Okay.
sa itong mga out of town. Then Thursday, then Friday, ready for the sinulog sa lalawigan and Saturday, and sinulog sa barangay on Sunday. So, Grand Mardi Gras, all Philippine schools are ready already, no? And then stage, probably this coming Wednesday. We can put up the stage final.
Speaking of the contingents first, how many are we expecting this year?
This year, for the Grand Mardi Gras, we have 33
Okay.
contingents. And we have, as of this time, on the float category, we have 15. The Gigante, we have 4 as of this time.
Kano sa may deadline na ni sir?
Ang deadline sa kuha na to sa ito ang mga flows would be this coming 19. On the 19th.
So, ang contingents,
ang contingents
complete na siya.
close na.
Close na.
Ato na close because of the influx of the participants. Mas nagdaghan ta karon. But the reason why there are some changes on the start of the Grand Parade. So time of lunch break.
Yes.
So we have to end the Grand Mardi Gras at 4 o'clock.
To those of you who might not be familiar with the Sinulog activities, especially those who will be joining us for the first time, the Grand Parade is the finale of all the activities. It will happen on January 21, that's a Sunday. And the Grand Parade always happens on the third Sunday, of January. That's when our contingents will perform in the street as well as at the Cebu City Sports Center. So what are the changes as far as the Grand Parade is concerned?
Well, in terms of criteria, the dance similar base or free interpretation, it should also reflect with the faith, strengthening the faith of Santo Niño, in line also with the theme of the Basilica, because this is the first time that the theme of Basilica is adopted by the Sinulog Foundation.
What is this? What's our theme this year, Father?
Our theme is Santo Niño, inspiration of renewed disciples for new evangelization. Yeah. So, ano siya.
That's very profound. Do you think the contingents live up to the demand?
Especially on the criteria on the float, criteria on street dancing, more on spiritual. We have to bring back the old sinulog.
Mm.
No? Because since 1980, 85, that is the best sinulog.
Mm. So, are you trying to say that the city has realized Sinulog has evolved into something more commercial
Yes.
through the years?
Muna yan ito ang gipugnan na sa pagkakaroon.
Okay.
Because of present nowadays, sinulog is gigamit na sa uban. Sad to say, gigamit na sa ubang mga companies for marketing purposes.
Mm-hmm.
No? So, nawa na yung essence on faith. No? Nawa na ang spiritual aspect. So, we're trying to bring back the old sinulog. So, this is it. This is the 2019 sinulog. These are the changes of the sinulog, and this would be followed thereafter.
Mm-hmm. We were talking earlier about the changes, and you mentioned major changes in the floats, particularly.
Yes, especially the floats. Before, as what you have seen on the past 3-4 years ago, there's advertisement on the sponsor of the float.
Mm.
Wala ang essence sa Senior Santorini. No? It's just only display of costume, beauties.
Mm-hmm.
No?
And the product.
That's wrong.
Okay.
Kinala na ang essence of Santorini, so that the people also, the spectators also, they have to come in mind that Sinulog is not festival alone.
Mm.
No? It's not a festival alone.
Mm.
No? Devotion of Senior Santorini. That's the reason why we are always safe in Cebu, because of Santorini.
Mm.
This is one way of how can we give back a salamat ni Senior Santorini. What is Cebu City nowadays in Cebu?
So, may itong mga policy rules karon as far as the floats are concerned?
Well, if they can violate one of the guidelines, automatically on the assembly area, they cannot join the Sinulog.
Bisag naka-prepare na diha ang
Yes.
float, and then if you see nga ni-violate sa
Yes,
guideline.
I was the one. I will be the one. No, what took it sa assembly areas to see to it that they follow, even though do not they find a meeting with them just to remind them on the guidelines. But me myself, just to say sorry. If ever someone will violate the guidelines, kinahanglan din nato sila pagpila.
So, let's put it in proper context, Councilor. Pila ka percentage dapat, how prominent should the
It
Santo
should
Niño
be
in the
30%.
float? Okay.
No, 30%. And then the remaining is the design,
Mm-hmm.
the motive, the way they present
Mm.
their float. Muna say ato ang makita.
The same goes to our entries for the puppets.
Yes. Ang puppets po, before it reflects a person,
Okay.
no? Just to make some fun.
Mm.
But now, it's not. Kinalang lagi kay essence, whatever imo din ha, as long as it will also reflect the faith, strengthening the faith.
Because in the several years ago, we've seen puppets depicting cartoon characters, movie characters.
Mm-hmm. But no Santo Niño at all.
Okay, yes.
But now, it's different.
Okay.
Kinahanglan na agad para ba synchronize at ipakita sa mga tao na we are one in Cebu.
Mm.
We are one sa ato ang faith.
Mm.
So we should also honor the Santo Niño. Without Santo Niño, no sinulog at all.
Mm. Your thoughts, Father, on the changes?
Yeah, with regard to the changes that we have, it's for us it's really a good way for us to kanang ma-integrate kani nato ang atong faith experience.
Mm.
So it's a very important thing because na-highlight gani nato ang atong with Councilor Dave Stoff nga murag na kuan na layo ang sinulog no sa fiesta, sa devotion. So it's nice to really to and we have also and sa simbahan in itself, as in the basilica, having the thought of really expanding the devotion, of allowing the Santo Niño to reach other people. O na kami other activities. So with the changes and with the thought nga and the intention nga maabot na itong mga katawhan, uplift ang ilang pagtuo, ang ilang experience ng Senior Santo Niño, which is the center of this celebration at all.
Correct, yeah.
No? So mo na nga, we have some visitations na naitabo katong December, and kiniugma, umaabot ugma, no? So we had last time hospital visitation with in coordination also with Councilor Dave, no? Sa government, sa LGU na to sa Cebu City. And we visited the hospitals, and karon sa umaabot na adlaw, no? We have visitation sa mga correctional facility nato sa Prisuhan, no? So we will be visiting sa Operation Second Chance and sa Cebu City Jail, female and male dormitories. So what are the thoughts, or what are the rationale behind this one? Ang nga gikuan is that first and foremost to reach out to people, especially sila controlled ng ilang area, no? Tungod silang sakit, tungod nga kay na priso sila, no? So controlled sila, so di sila ka-join, no? So mo to nga usa ka katilimban ba nga nagsilibrar sa Santo Niño. So di ba sila kagawas, di sila kapakita silang physical oneness ato.
So we go to that.
Kita ang madto. Si Senyor ang madto.
Inclusive, in other
and then
words.
si Senyor ang madto. Yes. So muna nga nagi kanang gigahin nga mga adlaw para sa ilaha. That's point. Secondly, ang atong gipatuman sa nga mga may mga modifications when it comes to our translation, no? From Cebu City to Mandaue, and eventually atong gi-widen kini from Mandaue going to Lapu-Lapu. So this is also another expression nga ato sa appeal. Ang uban nga at that time before wala sila makuan, and then they have their own wishes nga maabuton ta sila. So kini nga mga kuan, no, we heard this, we already planned about this, and that is why eventually gihatagan namo og shape kini nga kuan. So karon nga tuig atong sugdan ang pagdala sa Senyor Santo Niño after sa Mandaue dito sa Lapu-Lapu.
I think that just answers, well, we actually have a question from Noel Salvador, and he's asking, nganong adto na sa Lapu-Lapu manukan ang the fluvial procession. Yes. Before you answer that, Father, also to those who might not be very familiar, the fluvial procession happens on the day before the solemn procession in Cebu City. So
the same day.
The same day, yes.
In the morning.
Early morning. And that happens after, because what happens is that after the walk with Jesus, si Santo Niño ato sa Basilica, right? So the week after, we will have a walk with Mary. So si Mama Mary na sad ang i-procession to the Basilica, and the two of them, the two images will go to Mandaue,
to in the sanctuary or in the shrine of Saint Joseph, not the Holy Family. No. So from there nga nung gikuan na to, of course, as I've said, there were requests, no, coming from the people themselves, no. Father, why not this? Why not that? Expand this, expand that. We when we sorted these things, nakita namo nga ang requests coming from the people of Lapu-Lapu, and of course even from the people of Talisay. Nganong that i-expand ang pag-agi sa fluvial sa Talisay. So most of the mga why not i-agi ngadto sa Lapu-Lapu. Eventually kami nga mga parian na-present na siya. It was a thought, dugay na kaayo. So karon na nahatagan og shape kay wala gina ang among kuan, ang among tumunggyod sa mga kaparian is that nga just expand. Let Santo Niño reach the people, because he has a lot of devotees. So daghang kay mga devotees ni Senyor Santo Niño. Naganahan sa Cebu City Town. So ang among pinaka kuan nakita nga visible at this point of time is that pwede siya madala sa Lapu-Lapu.
Okay.
Nga dili maguba ang atong schedule sa pag-fluvial procession.
Because before, the fluvial procession begins at the One Wharf in Mandaue City, and the image of the Santo Niño is brought to Cebu City from there via vessel
fluvial procession.
Yes.
So, yeah.
But to clarify, Father, from the Saint Joseph Shrine in Mandaue, the image of the Santo Niño will be brought to Lapu-Lapu, not by boat.
not by
But
but by a traslasyon.
Traslasyon.
And that is a motorcade
Okay.
from the St. Joseph's Shrine, passing by I think the first bridge.
Okay.
And then eventually, with the manner that that the Santo Niño is received from Cebu City to Mandaue, the people of Mandaue will transfer the Señor to Lapu-Lapu. They will be accepted, or the Santo Niño will be received at the foot of the bridge on the other side in Lapu-Lapu,
okay.
by the people of Lapu-Lapu. No? And then it will be brought to the Virgen de Regla Shrine, where there will be a mass at 4 a.m. By the way, there will be a send-off mass of 2 a.m.
Sa Mandaue. St. Joseph.
Sa St. Joseph. Right after that, diretso ta sa atong traslasyon, eventually passing by the bridge, and then i-receive siya sa mga katawhan ngadto, dadun siya sa Virgen de Regla, and right after that may misa para sa mga katawhan ug devotos ngadto. And right after that, there will be another motorcade from the Virgen de Regla to the Nav for Sen, so mga Navy, no, sa dockyard sa mga Navy. Kaya dito mo set off ang gitawag nato nga floodal procession. So at this point of time, ang Navy ang atong napilian nga they will have the honor to bring the Santo Niño. So they will be the galleon of the Santo Niño this year. Then and good that they have their dockyard. They also offer the dockyard. So moto nga dito kita manokad sa atong floodal procession ng Señor Santo Niño. But it will still follow the same route, no? Sa kanang pagtuyok-tuyok niya sa Mactan Channel, no? It will be available for the people sa both sides, no? So mo na siya.
Sa Pier 1 gyapon modonggo.
Eventually Pier 1 gyapon siya modonggo.
Okay.
Yeah. So from Pier 1, then going to the same, no, anda nato nga a short procession coming from Pier 1 to the Basilica. Then the activities such as the Holy Mass will be celebrated there.
That will also be after that, the reenactment of the...
Reenactments, yes. So, reenactments. So, muna siya. And then, eventually, after Ana, sa hapon,
yes, our solemn procession.
Yes.
What are our preparations? Kay, I remember several years ago, niabot mga 2 million itong nangaten o solemn procession. What are our security preparations?
Okay. As of this time, we taught the assistance also of our habal drivers.
I see. Okay.
We have more or less 10,000 habal drivers, including the angkas, including the vendors itself. That's the reason why we try to regulate all the vendors. All they have to do is to register at the Cebu City Hall, so that the list of the names of the vendors will be having to submit it to the police for verification. And habal also drivers, they have also to submit for security preparation. At the same time, they are force multiplier. The other Muslim communities, Muslim brothers, also intends to assist us in terms of crowd control.
That's very nice, no?
Yes.
Considering that this is primarily Catholic.
Yes.
Activity, yes.
This is the second year, no?
Yeah.
And we support nato mga brother Muslims because for them, they are in Cebu City. Sinulog is Cebu City. They're also part of Cebu City. So they will support in terms of public order and safety. We also tapping some other volunteers. There are so many volunteers as force multiplier of the police. Natualang is just to relay other information in case dito sila makita ang mga katingadan din sa field, then they will report it directly to our PNP. Ang atuwa sa mga barangays itself, sa gibantayan. Ang atuwa mga boundaries, gibantayan sa nato. Especially sa atuwa sa kadagatan, our bantay dagat also assisted Philippine Coast Guard and Maritime Police. So, tanang aspects in terms of security, also security guards. Along Sinulog Road, we tie up also the Panpaw, so that to see to it that all establishments, ilang mga CCTV are functional. All security
That will be
guards.
very helpful. Yes.
Yes. Can you imagine how many establishments, how many security guards in the city?
Yeah.
Kanyang ilalang pagbantay not only under the establishment, but it's also ilalang atubangan.
So may atong muruta sa solemn procession this year.
Well, our solemn procession is come from Basilica, Osmeña Boulevard, left her to the Apostolate, to Magallanes. Yeah, I mean,
side.
no, the other side.
The other side.
The other side, Osmeña Boulevard.
Osmeña
Boulevard.
Osmeña.
Osmeña Boulevard towards Puente.
Puente, okay.
General Maxillum.
Right.
Okay. General Maxillum or Mango Avenue.
Mango Avenue.
Yeah.
MJ Cuenco.
MJ Cuenco.
Okay.
Ordeneta. P. Burgos.
P. Burgos,
Back
Basilica.
to
Balik sa Basilica.
Basilica.
Okay. That was the road last year.
Yes. Ato nang gikuan kay as suggested by the Office of Consular Dave no kay katuon taon ang another route no murag ang route going to the south. Kay
Yes.
one ang Magallanes,
Virama.
Virama. So wala na nato gidayon because as suggested by Consular murag natay kuan dito no natay construction no sa Embacalso which is now ay kuan a big thing for our traffic. So di na ta magdugan sa problema sa traffic. So wala na the other side na lang ta. Aron nga even though we have the procession, the traffic will not be affected too much there. So para nga at least ang atong mga devotos, mga pilgrims o mga turista na gikan sa south, they will not have any problem if they will use the Embacalso area.
Right. So this will be on January 20, a Saturday.
Yes.
The solemn procession will be afternoon.
Afternoon at 1
This will start at 1 o'clock.
Yeah.
Ang procession will start mismo 1 o'clock.
Yeah. Ang start sa procession na 1 o'clock, that is the time that the Señor Santo Niño will go out from the Basilica.
Of the Basilica.
Yes. So we expect that the movement of the procession will start by 12:30.
Reminders to the public
for,
joining the solemn procession.
Yeah, for those passengers coming from the south, I'd like to inform that the Southwest Terminal will be temporarily transferred to South Reclamation Project, which is beside El Corso on the 20th and 21st. So, ang atong Southwest Terminal will be temporarily closed. So, all passengers bound for south and from the southbound for city, another sila sa SRP. But rest assured, doon na sa tayo mga V-hire vehicles will ferry them towards Malacanang and Mambaling area.
Okay.
No, Mambaling area. So, preparation.
Are these ferries for vehicles for free? Or
No, it's a minimal fare.
Okay.
A minimum fare. And then, closure sa ato mga roads. Mag-expecta nga natuang mga roads leading towards the solemn procession and during the Sinulog Mardi Gras, doon na tayo ipang-ali dihan ng mga 10-wheeler truck. Especially sa mga major roads leading towards solemn procession to see to it that no vehicles can enter sa atuang solemn procession. That's for the security preparation. That's what we've heard past few years in France. During the festivity, there was a guy who drove along his truck. No? Ato nagilikayan. So, not a driver at the same time. So, side by side by the traffic enforcer. Parang sigurado mo yung makasok for their safety. We hope ang mga tao makasabot niya na dili na ito pwede ipadap nila ang atong security. We hope kinigihimo ni nato para ni sa safety sa tanan. I hope they would understand.
For the benefit of those who are not very familiar with Sinulog, what is the significance of having the Walk with Jesus, Walk with Mary, even the Translation and the Fluvial Procession? Why do we have to do these things?
Yeah, because, these are the features of our devotion, no? So the devotion that we have with Señor Santo Niño, we focus on the message of the Señor Santo Niño, humility, simplicity of the child, no? So and of course the childlike character of Jesus as Señor Santo Niño. So that is why we incorporate practices in the devotion such as processions in order for us to have venue for us to reflect on our faith, no? And it is that's why we call it penitential walk with Jesus, penitential walk with Mary. Because it's not just only festival, it is at the same time a sort of awakening in us, our devotedness, and of course the link of our life into our devotion, the link of our devotion into our faith. No? So as I've said, no, dito kayo nga atong gi-focus gid ba ang gitawag natong pakikiusa sa simbahan o sa atong kalihukan sa syudad nato. Kung tanaw nato, when we go to our life of faith, no, nahasa tayo iusahon, and that is our the integrity, no, ang atong life itself, our life as an ordinary person, maybe a priest or a government worker or a private person. We are all the same. It's because we have the same devotion to the Senior Santo Niño. We have that faith that we have to grow, and that's why we have to work on it as one people, no? As one church, no? As one member of the family of God. Nindot kayo nga na ang atong mga debosyon, ang atong mga activities of devotion will instill in us unity, and of course, as one people learning the messages. And here's the Senior Santo Niño: simplicity of life, ang pagkayanan sa iyang kinabuhi, ang iyang pagkabata, ang pagka-childlike niya. And I hope we can apply it into our lives. After the fiesta, I hope we bring the message of Senior Santo Niño back to our work, back to kung asa kita na-assign, sa atong patrabahoan. We become who is Santo Niño. And that is why indeed, as Cebuanos, as devotees of Senior Santo Niño, ang sinulog dili lang usa ka adlaw, ang sinulog adlaw-adlaw, because we dance for Senior Santo Niño, we dance our faith.
It's a very good point to make, Father, because especially to those who get attracted to the Sinulog only because of the festival concept of it, for the dancing, for the partying particularly. And speaking of partying, Counselor, speaking of partying, because starting when we launch the Sinulog until perhaps the solemn procession, everything is very solemn.
Yes.
But when Sunday comes,
okay,
after the Grand Parade,
just to remind again the public that our mayor signed an executive order starting January 19, 20, and 21. Within 300-meter radius, no parties, no loudspeakers or any other parties, especially using the parking areas as party zone, bawal. And
sa Grand Parade road niya.
Yes, within the 300-meter radius.
Okay. For the benefit of those who are not very familiar visually, saan ang 300-meter radius?
The 300-meter radius
sa Mango Avenue atong Isgutan.
Okay. Center line is the Mango Avenue.
Okay.
Left and right side, it's 300-meter radius.
Okay.
So both 300. So they cannot do some parties, no loudspeakers. Liquor ban on January 21st during the Grand Mardi Gras at 6 o'clock in the morning until the following day at 6 o'clock in the morning the following day. So
definitely maigo kayo ng mga baseline,
yes,
notorious places for
Yes.
partying.
They're not no party anymore.
To clarify, because the city is not really against partying per se, right? It's the effect of too much liquor.
Revelry.
Yes. Yes.
So much revelry.
And I remember last year, the city had to bring in military personnel to General Maximum Avenue to control the crowd.
Yeah.
Because the crowd became too rowdy.
Especially on one of the buildings there in Mango Avenue, corner one Osmeña, that spot area. This coming Sinulog would be our safety zone.
Okay.
We're talking about the Mango Square.
Yeah. Okay.
The management itself offered their property as safety zone.
What does that mean? Yeah.
The detention bus would be placed there, and then the police and the military can rest. If they wanted to rest, they can rest there at the parking area. They will provide water and food. They will provide also for personal necessities of our securities. So all bars are closed in Mango Square. They were the ones who offered to close.
Are we banning liquor along the?
Yes.
Okay. Because
other beverages.
Okay.
Beer.
Okay.
No, bawal. Pagpaninda, bawal. No. Kadalasan during the Sinulog day, but Friday and Saturday they can sell. They can sell, but no parties. No parties at all.
Yes.
We only allowed out of 300 meters.
Okay.
No, which is the Plaza Independencia, SRP,
Yeah.
no? But specific area only. That's the SRP.
Asa man is SRP ang allowed?
Ang allowed lang kanala na to ang subogram sa Senior Citizens Park.
Okay.
Because Canadian Davita is much more safer. No? It cannot obstruct also traffic. Okay. So kita sa gitanaw ang SRP because anak mo di ang atong South Pastor
Yes.
temporarily. So dito Davita sa Mayor Corso would be our bus. And I'd like also to inform the public, we will also install mobile bleachers, no? Starting Friday night
Asa man
from Osmeña Boulevard, corner London,
Okay.
up to Puente Osmeña. This is a free,
Yes.
no, for
Okay.
those who wanted to watch the Sidulog and at the same time atong solemn procession. Yeah, pwede sila makalingko din ha. Ang plaza na to, i-convert na to into Barrio Fiesta.
Okay.
It's so-called Kalingawan sa plaza. We try to bring
There is
back
a
the
Plaza
old system.
Independencia.
Yes.
Okay.
Because sa Puente Osmeña, no more food and drinks inside plaza. Rest sa na diha, rest area na diha. Sa mga tao gikan sa sinulog o sa solemn procession, if they wanted to rest, ano sa atong sulod sa plaza? Puente Osmeña. Atong Plaza Independencia, we convert that into Kalingawan sa plaza. We call it Kalingawan sa plaza.
I think the contention of the city government also is that when you bring all the parties and party goers together, it will be easier to
Contain.
to contain and to respond if ever there are emergencies.
Yes, that's the point. So this is different, you know. We
Yeah.
try to tanaw na to, mabalik ba na to kanang karaan nga fiesta para sa mga millennials.
Yeah.
Nawa kakita unsay karaan nga fiesta, makita nila this fiesta.
This seems to be a very ideal plan, especially sa kanang parade route during the Grand Parade. But how challenging do you think will the implementation be?
Well, we need the support of the public because this all plans is intended for them, not for us only, not just for them. No? They can also experience a different atmosphere, reminiscing the past. Muna nga ato ang Plaza Independencia karon gi-dress up na to. Mura siya naa ka sa probinsya. Ato lang diha is ang safety na lang yun sa ato mga bisita. Gikan malimba, gusto sila mga dito fair tabo, the so-called tabo, because naapo din ha ang mga vegetable, naapo baligya din ha. So ang pamilya, we try to wholesome ang entertainment na makita nila diya sa plaza.
But what about beyond the 300-meter radius? Nga covered by the EO.
Yeah.
How can we control the party?
Well, they can do the party because they have to. They are required to have an endorsement coming from these five, departments of the city.
Okay.
If one of the five will object, then no permit at all. Okay,
So that's clear to establishments that plan to hold parties outside.
They have to comply
The
with
300-meter
five
radius.
endorsement.
What offices are these considered?
One is from PNP,
Okay.
the traffic,
Okay.
the Bureau of Fire, my office, and the mayor.
Okay. It doesn't matter where the establishment is.
Yes, they have to comply with the permit. And if one of the five will check and will deny the request, say sorry. No party at all.
I might be asking you to look at the crystal ball, but how safe do you believe our celebration this year will be with the executive order issued by the mayor?
Well, this is the first time that the mayor has issued an executive order. We'll see. We can't say as of this time. But we will try our best. We will try our best. Safety lang yun.
We heard earlier, well, there were reports that the president and vice president may be attending the Grand Parade, Sinulog celebration. Will they be attending? Any confirmation?
I saw this time, no confirmation yet. But the presidential management staff wrote us a letter again, and they sent us the requirement and then we comply all the requirements, but no confirmation yet. But they ask us what is the schedule, possible time, and then rest assured it will also inform the public,
Speaking of the Grand Parade, one of the things the public always looks forward to is the grand stage of the Cebu City Sports Center. Unsay design karon sa stage?
Well, the stage is different than the previous years because we try to target the millennials. No, the LED walls, especially the sound system. This would be the first sound system ever. No, nga magdunggan makita sa ato ang mga sinulog mutanaw dito sa Arellana. Even though it's expensive, but we will try to no, nga makita na lahit ni siya sa tanang mga festival nga makita nimo sa Cebu. This is different sound system. This is different view because ang LED wall will complement also on the presentation
of the contingents. I see. Okay.
Mapuno siya sa LED wall.
Okay.
You know, it's a simple and a much more safer structure because Dakay Construction also managed to design the safety of the stage, even though it is expensive, but it's okay as long as it is safe.
We did not have fireworks last year. This year, not the fireworks this year. That's also something that the public always wants to know.
Okay, the fireworks as of this time inside Arellana.
Yes.
Wala pa yan. No, wala pa kita signal. But gi-spread ang atong mga fireworks sa mga malls.
I see. Okay.
One of the reason there is they have their own security. The same as what we did now on the programs such as Sinulog Festival Queen, Sinulog Idol, all programs of the Sinulog na nakaroon sa mga malls. Gipasod na to sila sa mga malls. First is the malls, sila sponsor, sila hatag prices. They will provide also sound system. They will provide also security guards. All. No? Sila na tanan. Meanwhile, ari diri sa gawas mo good, it can cause traffic.
And aside from that, the
police,
yes,
ambulances. Now, pasalamat sa mga malls na they are offering that. No? Mo na nakalahit karon. So, plaza independensya na gid. Or gisay kalingawan sa plaza. Alang sa mga new may mga millennials, pwede ato sa mga malls, daily na yung mga activities sa mga malls. Yeah.
That's right. Okay, so to those of you who plan to participate and take part in this year's Sinulog or major activities again, the beginning of the Sinulog activities of the church will be on January 11. That's the Walk with Jesus. And then at 4 o'clock in the morning. This year is going to be 4 o'clock. Assembly time is 3 o'clock, right? 3:30 in the morning. And then a week after that will be, well, the weekend, right, immediately after January 11, that's 13, 14, will be the Sinulog sa
Lalawigan and Barangay.
And Barangay. So that's Saturday and Sunday. So participating contingents from across the province will compete in the Sinulog sa Lalawigan on Saturday, and then contingents from Cebu City will participate in a contest at the Cebu City Sports Center the following day, Sunday, for the Sinulog sa Barangay. And then few days afterwards will be the Walk with Mary.
Pre-marriage on Friday.
This will be on Friday, on 19 January 19.
The same time, 4 o'clock in the morning, and then assembly time of course is 3:30. Then from there will be a mass, and right after the mass, which I think 5:30. After the 5:30, immediately it will be the kickoff of the traslation
from Basilica to
Mandaue. Then eventually it will stay in Mandaue. The next day, which is the Vísperas, the Vísperas from Mandaue, the images of the Guadalupe and the Santo Niño will be brought to Regla
in Lapu-Lapu City.
There will be a mass, and then from there it will be the kickoff of the fluvial will be at the Naforsen, and then fluvial eventually then
back to
Cebu City to the bed, and in the afternoon, in the Basilica. In the afternoon there will be the food procession.
And of course, our grand finale of the festival every year will be the Sinulog Grand Parade on Sunday. That's January 21. So please, reminders to everyone joining this year.
Well, alang sa mga visitors outside Cebu na magbisita sa atong syudad, just observe signages the emergency hotline can be put it in your cell phone. Kanang ato mga emergency hotline sa in case maka-encounter ng problema di sa mga kadalanan ng ato ang Cebu City Command Control Center andam mo assist, no? Mo guide ninyo asa mo dapita pwede, and also visit our Sinulog website, no? Also Sinulog Facebook account o sa Basilica na Facebook kay nag-inline na sa mga program sa Basilica.
Correct, yes.
Na-upload diri sa ato Sinulog Foundation. So that kung dili sila ka-browse, makakita sila sa all activities sa Basilica diri po sa ato ang website. So including also our PIO, so City Government. So tanan ato lang gi-inline so that ma-well-informed ang ato ang public.
Kasi atong mga emergency hotlines.
Well, all we have to do is just to dial sa atong emergency hotline 262-1424, that is landline. Our 166 no, sa Mobile Patrol Division. And there's also 4 cell phone numbers will be posted sa tanang mga streets, churches, plaza, terminal, mga pier area na to. So will be posted na sa tanan, visible na sa public. Para preparado na tanan.
By the way, before I forget, Councilor, ano magyapon tay displays for those who will be coming in and joining? Are we accommodating them? We
Yes,
have
yes.
a place to stay.
That would be on the 18th.
Okay.
No, ang ato
What do we call this again?
Devotee City.
Devotee City, yes.
Yeah, Devotee City.
Devotee City.
Ato ang Devotee City will open on January 18 at 4 o'clock in the afternoon. All are welcome. All you have to do is just to see the bus tickets. Na kay bus tickets. Pwede na ka maka-star kahit tubig, no, na kahigdaan. Doon na siya ginagmay pagkaong ihatag libre, no, para sa mga devotees na planning to visit Cebu Gaway Kapuyan.
Correct.
So na atong Devotee City near Plaza Independencia, which is we call this Maritima. Okay? At sa likod, no? Dali ato ang Devotee City.
Mga pila yung ma-accommodate na ni Councilor?
Wa pa ko kakuha sa exact figure, but ubay-ubay gina, no? Mga container bags ang ating ipamutang din ha. Para atong walay ka-estaran ba diri. Especially those vendors coming from province. Ali diri maninda kay we try to kuan ta ba nga kining mga manghigda sa ato ang mga asiras.
Yeah.
Ato na sila ibalhin gyud. No, kay lain kay tan-awon nga fiesta ta unya na ay higda sa ato asiras. So ato din sila ipang-transfer to Devotee City.
Father, reminders from the church?
From the Basilica del Santo Niño, well, we invite you to attend our novena, which will happen from January 11 until 19. Eventually by 20 is the Visperas and the 21 is the Fiesta. So, as I've said, we have 11 masses, no? 11 masses from 4 o'clock in the morning until 7 o'clock in the evening. And then if you want to consult our schedule, just visit our Facebook account. It's at BMSN Cebu. And of course, our website, santoninodeCebuBasilica.org. And then, in the Facebook, we have everything there. And it's nice that we have provided a PDF format of the events of the Basilica, especially the schedules of the novenario, all the activities, the processions. No, it is there in a PDF form that you can download in your cell phones, in your smartphones, so that you can have a browse if you want to consult some activities. And at the same time, also in the office, in the secretariat of the Fiesta Señor, which is in the rector's office, you can also request hard copies of the posters of the events, which we already disseminated starting last Friday. So I hope that you will be guided by these materials. And if you have some questions, we have also our telephone numbers in our Facebook. If you want to ask also through our Facebook, we are also in answering your questions via Facebook messages. No? So maybe my reminder to all devotees is that of course focus on the great celebration of Fiesta Señor and of Sinulog, because it is a spiritual upliftment to all of us. And as I've said, it's good that that we have this vision of oneness, of unity in our celebration. I hope that you will have the time for celebrating the Fiesta Señor with rich spiritual experiences. Pit Señor.
And I think the biggest reminder that we have to give everyone is that while we party in the streets during the Grand Parade on January 21, that is actually the Fiesta Señor itself.
Yes.
The Feast of the Santo Niño on January 21.
By the way, on January 21, which Sunday, the Fiesta Señor, I cannot announce it with the definitive finality, but I think the Papal Nuncio will be gracing our event. No, I don't know if it's final already, if it is in the Vísperas or in the Fiesta itself, but the Papal Nuncio will be coming with us. So for
that's
final,
very good news.
Yeah,
hopefully
we will be celebrating one of the masses. So we will just be posting to you our updates, because it's still in negotiation with the Archbishop.
That's very good news. Thank you very much, Councilor.
Thank you.
Daghang salamat, Father Nick. Thank you very much. There you have it, our guests in this edition of the Freeman Conversation, Councilor David Tumula, Deputy Mayor for Police Matters and Chairperson of the Executive Committee for Sinulog 2018. And of course, from the church, we have Father Rick Anthony Reyes. He's the Secretary of Fiesta Señor 2018. And for the latest on everything about Sinulog 2018, please keep it here in the Freeman, and as well as Banat News. We'll be giving you updates as we celebrate this year's Sinulog. Thank you very much for joining us today. I'm Jobert Alcao, the online editor of the Freeman. And as we always say, every Sinulog, Pit Señor, everyone.